Now I'll give you one last little decider-in-chief issue. This health care bill, which looks a lot like the bill that Ted Kennedy and the Democrats in the legislature drafted in Massachusetts that Mitt Romney signed and he now renounces. He says, day one, man, I'm going to issue an order to stop enforcing that bill and we're going to repeal that thing. It's just terrible. Well, first of all of you think about this. All of you who are in the workforce now and those of you going. I've been saying this for years. The worst thing we could do is to go back to the status quo. We are spending 17.8% of our income on health care. The next most expensive system in any big rich country is 11.8%. That's just a bunch of numbers, right? It's $1 trillion a year. We would not spend if we had any other system, including a lot of them with better performance index than we do. That's $1 trillion a year we can't spend giving pay raises, hiring people, investing in new equipment, new technology, in research and development. Big headline on the front page of USA Today last week saying that wages had not been rising for a decade because employers had to take the money they would have spent on pay raises for their workers and spend it on insurance premiums. Now what's happened since this terrible Obamacare passed? 3 million young people between 19 and 25 carried on their parents' policies for the first time. Fascinating reform efforts going on all over America to figure out how to lower the cost and raise the quality of health care. Health inflation has been 4% or less for 2 years in a row for the first time in, get this, 51 years. It could solve the Medicare problem if the inflation rate drops in half. That's amazing. It gets better. There were over 1 million people in Florida alone who got refunds from insurance companies this year because the law requires 80 to 85% of your premium to go to your health care, not to profits and promotions. I think we should be thanking Barack Obama, not condemning him for signing that law. And this is a big deal. So, what does Governor Romney want to do? He wants to repeal the law, let the insurance companies go back to their old pricing policies, not see what's coming next year, which is over 30 million Americans will be able to afford insurance for the first time, including millions with pre-existing conditions, at least 1 million people in Florida. No discrimination between men and women based on insurance rates. Women sometimes pay 50% more. He wants to get rid of that and says, well, nobody dies if they don't have health insurance. They just go to the emergency room. That's what he said. Now again, I'm sure there are lots of health policy classes here. But here's the truth, folks. There's study after study after study after study that shows if you have no insurance and all you got is the emergency room, you see a doctor later, when you're sicker, you cost more, and you don't live as long. And if you do have insurance, you get medical care sooner when it costs less, and you live longer. This is a literal life and death decision. And it's good for the economy. It will free up money to go to pay raises and hiring and investment. And interestingly enough, one of the things in Governor Romney's health care reform is to cut the Medicaid program by 1/3 over 10 years and give it back to the states. Now I just want you to look around. Let me just tell you, this is something Barack Obama would never do. And those of you who are young may not know this, but Medicaid is known chiefly for providing health care to lower income kids. But what a lot of Americans don't know is most of those kids are in families with working parents. They're working for a living. And it's going to be a lot harder for them to work if their children don't have health insurance. And they are all our children. Every time one of these kids doesn't get health care, it restricts our common future. Every time one of them drops out of school, it restricts our common future. Every time one of them drops out of college, it restricts our common future. They're all our kids. Now, what most Americans don't know is that 61% of the money in Medicaid goes to two other groups. First of all, senior citizens living on Medicare who have spent down all their resources, don't have any more money, and don't have any place to live but a nursing home. That's paid for by Medicaid, even though they're on Medicare. Now, if you cut that by a third, who in Florida are we going to designate to decide whether we kick Aunt Maud or Aunt Mary out of the nursing home? Just so I can get another tax cut? Which kids are going to lose their health insurance? So I can get another tax cut? And worst of all is the third group. Families, many of them with good, solid middle-class incomes, whose children have autistic conditions, or cerebral palsy, or muscular dystrophy, or developmental disabilities, who are gifts from God but cost more money to take care of. A lot of their parents would not be able to work at all if Medicaid didn't help them meet the enormous burdens of their children's conditions. One decider-in-chief says, I don't know if I would have signed the equal pay law, but I darn sure cut that a third and sent it back to the state. And the other one, Barack Obama, said, over my dead body, we're going to keep taking care of the children of this country. Together. So folks, I worried for a long time about what these people could possibly be thinking. But for the next 4 days, I'm not going to worry about it at all. I'm only going to worry about what I'm thinking. And I'm thinking about re-electing Barack Obama. I'm thinking about making sure that America gets back in the future business. I'm thinking about a 21st century prosperity with millions of jobs and rising incomes and declining poverty, where we're all in this together and we're going forward together. That's what this election's about. And make no mistake about it, you can see I've lived a long time. Sometimes I don't know how I ever got as old as I am. But the older I get, the more I know that all that really matters in all these highfalutin political campaigns is three things. Are people better off when you quit than when you started? Do children have a brighter future? And are we coming together instead of being torn apart? If you ask yourself, which candidate is more likely to have more people better off, the children to have a better future, and this country coming together instead of coming apart, there is no doubt the answer is Barack Obama, and you can make him president again. Will you do it? Will you do it? Thank you. God bless you.